Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. What you've got in front of you here is a Rodin coil pendant. Alright, so it's a little bit different than the other pendants that we do. We call them vortex coils. They are a coil, but this one here is a specific Rodin coil, okay? You can see that design. It's like, if you look at it on the side, if you can, it actually does the infinity symbol. As it passes through the center and wraps around, it's actually twisting as well. All right, so it's rotating in on itself. All the wires, all the windings are rotating as well. All right, so it's based on the vortex-based mathematics. Marko Rodin's work on that, and the 369 from Tesla. There's a lot of things that go all in this coil. Okay, so this is a little bit different than what we normally do. I have done these in the past, and I'm doing them more with our powered devices that are still coming. There's still videos coming. I do bits and pieces, but for instance, I'll show you these in a minute, what I'm working on down here, but it's basically a sanding and polishing day. Now, this one here is a custom pendant as well. They wanted this for their chakra, the orange one. You can see it's different coil design. They're both coils, right? They're both winded, but you can see sort of the difference. All right, so this has a couple of coils and this one has a couple of coils as well, different ones. All right, so I call these ones a vortex coil, these ones here are Rodin coils. Okay, so Rodin coils, they are harder to wind, they are quite annoying. Those of you who make them, whatever, you've got to pass everything through the center and all the rest of it, but more beneficial. Alright, it's just the next step up. This here is just different again. Alright, so they're all, we like to put the MWOs on the back. These here are double MWO antenna, meaning the one you see right now, that antenna, there's also on that disc, there's one on the other side. So there's two antennas on this one. Alright, dense full of orgonite mix. That is a aura quartz, the same that's in the center here. Alright, this is my personal piece. This is the one I'll be keeping because it's a specific Rodin coil. Alright, now I'll run you through some of the others. I'll just put this one back down. I'll be wearing that in a sec. Put that back on. Have these all grounding out in the sun. It's a beautiful sunny day today. Got flower petals in here. This is the water I'm using for sanding. There's sandpaper in there and I'm sanding all these back. My daughter loves to put the flower petals in there, some grass. I guess it gives the water certain energetics about it, but she has fun with that. Normally she puts a lot more in there, but okay, so these ones here, they're the same as my one, the complete one. These ones here are sanded, but I need to do more to them to get them up to a polished state. So this one's very similar to my one. The aura quartz is a bit different. The one I've got is more green in there, and this one here is the same. If it's exactly the same as this one, but reversed in the colors. All right, so it's more black with the copper going in like that. All right, can you see that versus that one? So this is the opposite version of that color wise. So where there's black, there's copper. Where there's copper, there's black. Alright. Yes, very, very good. Same make. We love to do this on the back with these here. That just adds to the energies, adds to the healing. Alright. I don't know if you guys heard that, but the neighbors are fighting. Someone's yelling. Alright, so this is just fresh out the mold. You can see these here sharp edges. They're a bit thicker, and we knock them back, notch them back to their rounded, more beneficial, and they're a little bit thinner, but still somewhat thick enough, because you want to put as much orgonite in there as possible to do the work that we need in this high negative energy environment. All these EMFs, Wi-Fi, 5G towers, we're getting bombarded with so much stuff, it's not funny, and things that we wouldn't even know about. Alright, so this one here's the same sort of thing, but in the silver and purple. Okay, this is a Rodin coil. So Rodin coil, like Rodin, vortex, what I showed you before. Rodin and vortex. Alright, Let's have a look. You can see the Rodin part, how it's going through the center there as a donut, doing the infinity symbol, and if you look closely how it goes in and it rotates. The underside of it you can see more, and then it's got a vortex coil as well. Alright, straight up all copper. Alright, one of them on the back, so there's that one. And this one here, we offer these here on our Etsy shop. Now these here are just double MWAs, okay? So essentially with these discs, because we use the double antenna discs, one on the front, one on the back, one on the front, one on the back. So essentially there is 4 MWA antennas on this pendant. 4. Alright. They're just, from what I've seen on Etsy, most people use just the singular ones. Right, and I've seen like one on the front. They're not the double kind, they're just the single one on the front. So 1 MWA antenna, not 4, and they're charging ridiculous amounts. I think it's up to $200 or $150 here, $200, $250. I've seen them up to like $300 and plus. One was claiming they're the best pendant in the world. I don't know how you can claim that, but I mean, I believe that what we've got here is truly up there in being some of the best stuff that you could possibly buy. Best bang for your buck. That's what I truly believe. That's what I'm trying to make here for people. Alright, I'm not here to mess people around, just here to give out the best products properly, or as possible. Okay, this is another order. Alright, you can see it's just got a clear quartz bang in the center. You get to see with this particular one, you can see the crushed powdered chakra blend on the front. You get to see some crystals stand out more than others, like the solid opaque, whatever. The solid color stones seem to stand out. The greens, the malachite there really stands out. Alright, so just a solid black one. Like these are in the sand. Like I've got to sand and round and polish these up. Okay. Now, what we're doing here, these here are our pocket pieces. Alright. So this one here, same blend. I don't know if it's going to come up on camera, but you can see chakra crystals in there. You might see specks of blue, reds, greens, yellows. Yeah, I think you see blue like right there. Greens, whatever. It's the chakra color spectrum. Okay, there's real 24 karat gold in here. Different kinds of metals, metal shavings like copper, zinc, brass, metal shavings, and yeah, lots of paramagnetic materials. So that's a finished product. So we don't fully go into polishing these. We round the bottoms off, sand them down to smooth, like that smooth, and that's how they sell. So when they this is in the process before that, so we need to round these off. Okay, so that's heavy duty sanding there to round them off. We flatten the bases, and I'll sand that there too, because this here they dip in because we use high shrink rate resin. When these are finished curing in their molds, they rattle. If you pick the whole mold up with them in there, they go tick, 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 they rattle, indicating that the whole thing is a smaller size. It's shrank, like the shrink rate is high, crushing on those, putting those pressure on those quartz. All the quartz family crystals, creating more piezoelectric, getting more scalar wave energy potential out of all the crystals. Alright, that's what's going on there. A lot of people use epoxies or resins that do not shrink, and you will not get any rattle. You won't get the whole thing to shrink. I had someone saying to me that they know that their epoxy shrinks because when, like, their last final pour, so when it's like this, their final pour, it has a lip and it sinks in on the base on their last final pour. I argued that that's going to happen regardless because of air bubbles escaping, things are settling. Like when you pour it, it might be here, and things are settling, so it will slightly go in, and the air bubble releasing and all the rest of it. So there goes that argument, because if it's shrinking only on the last pour that you did, things are escaping, things are settling, of course it's going to shrink in a little bit, but that's not due to the resin shrinking. If it did that on all surfaces, while these here are rattling, like I was just saying, they rattle in their mold because the whole thing is shrunken. then that would be the case for epoxies as well. It doesn't happen. When epoxies, the casting ones seem to have the less shrink. All right, because the casting epoxies, they do like you know those big river tables and stuff like that. You don't want epoxies to shrink. That's why they use them for those tables, because you need it to attach and adhere to the wood. All right. So if it did shrink, it would come away from the wood, and you won't have a table. It'll just crack and break, and that'll be the end of it. All right. So when they do these epoxy pours, they're using casting resins because they're doing large quantities. They're often like fairly thick, like this to this, like or even greater. It depends on what you're doing. They don't shrink because that's why they use them for the river tables. You will never use, like, say, a polyester for a river table. It's not happening. It's not going to work. So there's that. The only epoxies that shrink are the like top coat sort of resin, but they are for extremely thin layers of just a coat. They have the most heat generated. They shrink the most, indicating you can only do very, very thin layers, so meaning you cannot make orgonite with this unless you're just doing a coat, a dip, or something to seal it. You cannot do a pour, like this thick, that thick, or anything else, because it will just wreck the whole thing. So the specifics: epoxies, if you're doing castings, if you're doing anything like this thick, whatever, or thicker, even thick like this, right, you got to have epoxies that do not shrink. All right, it's just the way it is. Anyway, that's my rant on that. But this is my day today, just showing you these new vortex coils. Rodin coils, proper Rodin coils. You can see that, right? How they are structured better. So this is a more beneficial coil. I don't do too many of these. I'm starting to do them more with the powered devices because I've seen greater effects. And understanding how they work, powering them up, I've got the certain things to measure these, and they are more beneficial as a Rodin coil. All right. I'm not saying that these here don't work. They work the same, being a passive device as a vortex coils. They work the same. But from what I've seen, when you power them, these here are way more beneficial. So in a passive device, they also will be more beneficial. All right, you're getting near the 0 point more, generating these orgone, lifeforce, chi, mana, prana energies. All right, all that's concentrated coming into the center where that quartz is located, making that work harder, vibrate further. All right, this here is aura quartz. It is clear quartz, being treated, coated, it's been impregnated or embedded. It becomes part of its structure with platinum vapors and real silver vapors. All right, they put it in a vacuum, they superheat it to many hundreds or thousands of degrees, and they put the vapors in the chamber, and this is the effect. Okay, it becomes, so by putting these metals, these noble metals in there in vapor form, it becomes crystal, making something different. These here have a greater effect and a stronger effect out of the crystal as well. It adds sort of a bionization, if you know about that. All right, as well, which also generates more energies out of your crystals. All right, that's what that is. Also looks really cool, doesn't it? But yeah, proper Rodin vortex coil pendant. All right, so that's it. Just a little quick bit. Hang about for other videos to do with the powered devices. That video is coming, where I measure the range, the different Gauss measurements, the magnetic field strengths, what frequencies do what, because if you change the frequencies, you have different outcomes, different ranges, different Gauss measurements. All right, companies might say like, for instance, eye pyramids, how they do the toroidal, PEMFs, whatever. Q coils, much the same, but they'll say their stuff's like, just say their smaller stuff, whatever. They have a 3 foot radius. Cool, well, we can get that with ours, but that's at different frequencies. Like, if you wanted a frequency and that range is significantly different, it's less. At maximum, they might get a 3 foot, but they don't get into what frequency does that. They don't get into what Gauss that range has. They don't get into, yeah. We're going to do that. We're going to explore that. All right. So bear with me. There's more stuff to come. orders, and these here, this one, this one, this one, these here, two here are for friends. Custom order, this is a random one, along with these ones. So these here are all available. These here, there's already a few of these on our Etsy site, but these ones here are available. If you see something you like, you can let us know right in the comments. Be quick, if you're seeing this, be quick, because they might go, because these here are, like I say, proper Rodin coils, okay? This one here is obviously an order that I've got to do. There's heaps of these available as well. Yeah, don't know where I was going with that, but with these here, right, the idea was, what I did with these was, the crystals that are in here in their powdered form, their powdered state, these two here are linked, meaning if I grabbed a shard of selenite, a shard of blue kyanite, some malachite, some whatever crystals I did, I had a list of chakra blend, a singular piece like clear quartz or amethyst, just a single piece of amethyst that has been crushed up and put into both of these. So every piece is in both of these, meaning these here by the crystals are structured. I mean, they are connected, okay? So I did the same with this one. So me and my partner, she's got one similar to this one. The crystals used in here, they're in both. They're okay. So the single shard of amethyst, the single shard of whatever I used, is crushed up and put in these two. They're separated from everything else, so it's not just a big mix, so that they are linked via their crystals. Their energetics are linked, okay, if you understand. So these two are linked, and mine and my partners are linked. So these are for friends of mine, and that is what I've done with those. All right, so bit of information, you know, where we're going, what we're doing, powered devices, doing Rodin coils. Now, I don't think I've seen anything, a Rodin coil this bloody small, to be honest. These things are tricky to make. You've got to come up with a way how to do these. You've got to pass all the windings through the center. Yeah, good luck with that if you're trying to replicate that. Yeah, alright, that is it. My rant, my little video. It's been a while. Stick around for the other video about the powered stuff coming up. And yeah, I'll see you next time.